Hi, it's me, Ingrid, INFP, and I wanted to talk about FI versus TI, since that is something that somebody asked. It was somebody who was confused whether they were an INTP or an INFP. And though I haven't really had that problem, I've never really considered myself a thinker. I can see why the confusion may arise, because FI and TI are introverted judging functions and therefore not really well explainable to the outside. As I'm trying to explain this, keep that in mind, because it is pretty hard to explain. They don't translate very well to situations in the outside world, since it's happening inside our heads. Well, all the functions are, but I'm saying that extroverted judging functions will be more, you can see it much better in a person than an introverted function. The hardest cognitive functions to see are SI and NI, as their introverted perceiving functions, so that's even more subjective, you could say. But so what distinguishes FI and TI? Well, first of all, they are thinking and feeling functions, and it is kind of, but that doesn't mean that thinkers cannot feel and that feelers cannot think, because we can all do both. It's just that the flavor of these things is very different for different types. My life revolves about my feelings, and INTPs don't really have that. It might not look so from the outside, because the feelings don't show up on our faces and in our behaviors and stuff as much as an extroverted feeling person would. But my focus in life is really about my feelings. Of course, I have goals, and I am interested about learning things about the world, but in the end, it all comes to what I find is right, what I find is good. And that's where the distinction with TI comes in, is that FI is concerned with what is right, what feels right to the person. It's about values, and it's about subjective, feeling-based, person-based, humanity-based stuff. While TI is more about truth rather than what is right, what is true, what, how is the world, how the logic behind the things that are around the world. And they like to explore that much more than exploring their feelings. It's hard for us as dominant in that type to see how much it affects our world, because we are bathing in it. You always are bathing in your dominant function, so you're not aware of how different it is for other people to live their life. If I, before I knew about MBTI, I thought, well, why isn't everybody thinking like this? Doesn't everybody have all of these feelings and that they have to unwrap all the time? How are they managing going through the world when I can't? I realized that they just don't have the depth of feeling that I have, and they don't value everything according to what they feel is right all the time. INTPs bathe in TI, so they're always thinking about what is true about things about the outside world. That's why they're so good at math and physics, because they're thinking about these kinds of topics all the time. It's conceptual and abstract, but just like INFP's FI is conceptual and abstract. What makes it conceptual is the NE, which is intuition, which is not in the solid sensory world. But TI is really about how deconstructing a logical topic, it's about really thinking about things and making a logical system to view the world, to make decisions, to decide what is right or what is true. I would say, though, that FI is about what is right in terms of ethics. But TI users can talk about ethics too. It's just that that's not their primary focus of what is interesting to them in life. And they go about it in a very different way. INFPs will have a lot of feelings, and those feelings, everything is thoughts. Feelings can't be really quantified. Thoughts can't be quantified either. Everything is just signals in the brain. But INFPs will be thinking very emotionally about stuff. While INTPs, their emotions are secondary. And I think that their emotions, since they have FE last, FE is very surface, is a very surface function. And so their feelings will be pretty much just like, I'm sad, I'm angry. It won't be all of this nuance that INFPs have with their emotions, which is like, as an INFP, I can feel angry and sad and happy and frustrated and disgusted at the same time, and I'll be able to like parse out. I won't be able always to say why, but I'll be always thinking about why is it I'm feeling this way. Because for me, that's really interesting. I want to know because I need to know how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way in order to fulfill my goals in life. That's the philosophy of the INFP. The INTP wants to understand the world in order to make it better, or to like become a better person. They need to understand how things work, interesting concepts to them, and that comprise the universe. And with that knowledge, they can then use their FE to help people. While FI first is, I need to sort through my feelings in order to accomplish my own goals. So those are two different ways with the FI-TE scale and the TI-FE scale. There is a lot of focus for TI users to have integrity, which is a different kind of integrity from the FI integrity. For TI users, it's important to be consistent in your logic, and they will change their behavior according to if it fits their logical framework or not. Well, for me, like, I might change my mind on doing something if I feel it is right. So it's not as much of a logical process. And for me, it's hard to conceptualize TI since like it's non-existent in my world. It's very different because I don't have language for this. So that's why it's hard for me to make a video about it. it's like in the 8th slot. If you believe in that there are 8 functions that you use, it's the last one. I can make a logical argument, but it is through FI and TE. It's that kind of very simplistic, what is effective, what works, rather than actually thinking very deeply about something. I don't think very deeply about physics or about how something works. I just want something to get done as fast as possible and as effective as possible, so that I don't need to think about that process anymore, so that I can go back to think about my feelings. So that's how it's different. I have an example of TI versus FI. It's with my INFJ best friend, and we talked about this, and it was kind of funny. It's the difference between TI and TE is we went to a store and we had to figure out the self-checkout, and I was like, we need to get out of here as soon as possible, you know? So I had to go, and so I was like, okay, well, we need to like go to the cash register, and we need to scan a lot of things, and then we need to like bleep the card, and then we need to get out, you know? But my INFJ friend was like, you know, he was like standing back and thinking, oh, but this isn't working. We need to figure out how the whole system works before we can actually do the thing. Like I was like there, like scanning the stuff, and he was like, well, we need to understand the system before we do it. And in the end, like he was right, because I hadn't, like, it went wrong while I was doing the checkout, and then you actually needed to put the little bleeper thingy into a specific grate, and when that was done, then you could go and do the self-checkout, and then with that, then you could use your card, and then you had to change your card to your credit card, and then with that system, when that is done, then you get the receipt, and then you can get out. So I was trying to do everything like fast and effective, but since the system did not follow what I thought it was going to be like, I could not do it on my own. Well, for a TI user, they'll be thinking about the system in great detail and how it logically is. So it will take more time to come to a conclusion, but it is more flexible in that since it already understood the system, then once it does it, it's precise, it works. And that's how TI and TE work together. Well, not work together, but how they differ. And so that's where I saw like how these functions work. I do not use TI, so it's hard for me to explain it. But through seeing those kinds of examples, I can tell that somebody is more of a TI user rather than a TE user. So that's what I had to say on the subject. I don't really understand TI, so I'd be glad if somebody in the comments could explain it better than what I can. It seems cool to have TI. I must admit, sometimes I get like frustrated at myself for being so focused on emotions all the time. But we are really wired differently. If somebody has difficulty with mistyping or having a hard time typing themselves between INTP and INFP, I'd say the most important thing is that how much it really is, there really is a difference between the T and the F. How much time do you spend thinking about your own feelings? How much time do you spend thinking about abstract concepts. We're both like, or abstract like things in the outside world. We are both capable of doing both types. But what do you spend most of your life doing? What do you find meaning and purpose in? Is it like looking up stuff and really deep diving into a certain concept in math and physics or that kind of thing, or other kinds of sciences, other kinds of books, other things? Or is it deep diving into your emotionality, other people's emotions, things that are important to the self? The choice is not actually that hard when you think about it. So that's what is the biggest difference. Then there are other differences, like how you value things, and how you're more interested in what is true rather than what is right, or if you are more about authenticity or rather than about integrity and consistency. So tell me what you guys think. Have a great day. Bye.